Players on the Harrisburg Heat are measured by three things: wins, losses, and points scored. Now, we're adding a fourth: miles per hour. Equipped with a radar gun, we're at practice wondering which player can really bring the heat.
The Harrisburg Heat has to know this science experiment is far from perfect. With an irresistible force, a very movable object, and our radar gun, we're going to see who has the hardest shot. Plus, try to answer this question: does having the hardest shot even matter in a game? First, though, our winner, proving something.
It's all technique, honestly.
And the loser, the team decides, will be buying donuts for everyone. 63, 61, 62. Research we found shows a ball coming off the foot of your average pro player hits 67 miles an hour. Our findings? 66. Have lefty Dave Cash right around that mark. Others? Not so much. 48! And Val Texera, noted for his crushing kicks?
I didn't get it. It's not...
We'll never know. His shots wouldn't register.
Broke the gun.
Everyone went before me and they were getting 50, 60. Maybe I got to 100 and the machine just broke.
Maybe, but this time, the hardest,
60.
Fastest shot
61.
belongs to Tyler Whitner.
69.
69 miles an hour. He's 6 feet, 180. Proof, he says.
So it's not a matter of your size or anything like that, how strong you are. Because if you're going to have good technique, you can actually hit a ball pretty well.
As for that other question, does having the hardest shot mean anything in a game?
In general, sometimes it's hard to even get off your hardest shot.
Well, it depends.
Most of the time you're looking for a quick trigger.
You might get half a second to get a shot off. That's about the most, if you're lucky.
Was luck involved in our experiment?
You think this is right?
Perhaps operator error?
21.
There's at least one Heat player thrilled with the results.
69.
It's often called the mistake by the lake, but make no mistake about it. Back in 1964, a local man just knew his Cleveland Browns would be champions. Saturday is now the golden anniversary. And what does that player miss most? Working alongside our CBS station in Cleveland, here's CBS 21 sports director Jason Bristol.
So I've had a great life.
Looking back on his remarkable football career, Gary Collins has very few regrets.
In my career, I dropped 7 balls.
Total?
Total.
But there is this one thing.
But it was a thrill up there.
This one collectible Gary wishes he still had.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have. I blew it. Young, dumb, stupid.
But let's forget all that for a minute. How Gary Collins ended up on the hood of that car is one of the best football stories you've likely never heard.
Amazing.
And it starts during the 1960s.
Number 86, Gary Collins, has been a top receiver in the league for many years.
There was no one who could stop Gary Collins inside of the red zone.
Cleveland Browns teammate Paul Warfield.
He had magnificent hands, and in the red zone, he was unstoppable.
Yes, unstoppable. But who would have ever predicted this? At the 1964 NFL Championship game, Gary Collins stunning the mighty Baltimore Colts, catching not one...
The first ball I caught, I thought I was going to drop it.
Not two...
And finds Collins as free as a bird.
But 3 touchdown passes. Still a championship game record.
Gary romps into the end zone.
The Browns, 17-point underdogs, pulling the upset. 50 years later, the city of Cleveland hasn't won a major sports title since.
Once you had a memorable performance like that, which I did, you remember by that game alone.
But what a game it was. Who would have predicted it? Gary did, telling a reporter,
"We're going to win by 3 touchdowns. I don't know why I said it.
And he was right. Final score, 27-0. And here's what makes this story even more astonishing.
And it was fast.
That picture of Gary on the hood of a car, it's a 1965 Corvette, a prize for the game's most valuable player.
And I was the MVP.
Gary
told me before the game all week he was going to win that Corvette.
Predicted that winner too.
He called the shot. He was telling me.
I was just confident.
Gary from Williamstown now lives in Hershey. And the car?
My son traced it.
Who knows?
Like up to 10 years ago to Arizona somewhere.
He traded it in.
24 when I won it. And, you know, things come easy then. I'll get another one, it don't matter.
It's one of his few regrets. But he still has this other collectible.
They're much bigger nowadays.
His 1964 World Championship ring. A piece of NFL history. Something he will never get rid of. Yeah. How do we know? Gary Collins guarantees it. In Hershey, Jason Bristol, CBS 21 News.
Well, it's a decision that changed the course of one young man's life, and it happened out of the blue.
And now a graduate of Dickinson College is climbing the ladder to the major leagues after deciding another aspect of the game just wasn't for him.
CBS 21 Sports Director Jason Bristol traveled to Frederick, Maryland for the story.
No score here in the top half of inning number 1.
140 times a season, Jeff Arnold sits behind a microphone for the Frederick Keys minor league baseball team, calling balls and strikes.
Fastball high, it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And he does this job.
And now the pitch.
After coming to this conclusion.
0-1.
He no longer has any interest in calling balls and strikes.
1-1, it's a strike. It's probably best if I, pursue this now before the time comes where I'm just not able to. Pitch, strike 3 called.
Now, Jeff is one of 200 or so broadcasters calling minor league games each night. But I can tell you this, no one has a resume quite like his.
Before realizing his true calling was in the broadcast booth,
2-1 pitch.
Jeff stood just outside the batter's box, calling games as a minor league umpire. It was a dream come true, but after only 1 season, reality reared its ugly mask. For Jeff, a lot more cons
travel
than pros being in the pros.
Staying with a partner that is just horrible.
And the odds of making the majors, Jeff told me before a recent game, was the final out.
It's kind of like your chances of if you're a judge getting on the Supreme Court. It's really, really difficult to do. Fastball is clobbered into center field.
Not that this is easy by any means.
Has got it.
But Jeff had done broadcasting on the side. And now he is likely the only announcer in the pros who's graduated from umpire school. In other words, he's really on the ball.
We have opposing broadcasters come into our booth and say, hey, did you see that? And Jeff says, yeah, absolutely, there's no question about it.
When I see that,
knowing what he knows, he most certainly cuts the umpires some slack.
You know what, probably not.
And here's another call we didn't expect. That being a former umpire,
it really wasn't
a factor when he was hired here.
He has a fantastic voice, knows the big game of baseball quite well, so fits right in and is doing a great job.
As he sets and gets ready to fire the tool.
So, when it comes to a career move,
ball 1.
Jeff Arnold, the broadcaster, is living an umpire's dream. 140 times a year, he knows he absolutely, positively made the right call.
As long as you keep doing a good job and you're accurate and you're prepared, and you don't annoy the hell out of everybody, I think you're going to keep getting that opportunity.
The pitch. In Frederick, Maryland, Jason Bristol, CBS 21 News.
They are teachers, motivators, and innovators, and you never know where the next great one is coming from.
No, you don't. Perhaps CBS 21's Jason Bristol has found him, though, huddling up with a team of women in Dauphin County.
Fake 32, X team on 1.
There's plenty of reasons why Mike Achmanowitz has a different perspective on football. It's why we've strapped a camera to his clipboard.
Don't do that!
Sure, a lot of kids are into the game.
All right, can we get a huddle here?
But this one is actually in the game.
Fake 32, X team. All right.
Here's a 15-year-old helping coach the Keystone Assault, the women's football team.
We got it? Let's go.
How many hours a day are you thinking about football?
23.
That is dedication. And sometimes,
stay basic.
The head coach here even allows him to call plays, including his favorite one.
We call it a 43 superpower. Run the rock. All right. Don't throw it at all, run up the middle.
All right. Does he have an official title on this team?
He's the assistant offensive coordinator.
And that means what?
That means that he'll do whatever I ask him to do. And Rebecca at 4.
Yes, Mike's dad is the head coach.
Go off of this.
And little Mikey has been his unofficial assistant since he was in diapers, going to nearly every game and practice his dad runs.
Fake 32, X seam, all on.
But taking directives from someone who's 15?
Yes, all on.
Everyone here told me they have no problem with it because this
He's not a normal 15-year-old.
is not
Mikey's been around the game for a long time.
your average,
Probably longer than I have.
15-year-old.
He's a 15-year-old with 15 years of football experience.
And football experience? Remember 43 Superpower, that favorite play on Mike's clipboard?
43 Superpower. Break it down for me. What happens in 43 Superpower?
Well,
He can describe it because he designed it.
2 back and a 4 back, and they're on a line. 45 superpower.
In a sport where not every player is fully up to speed, Mike is proving to be a natural.
Nice job.
A delicate balance between toughness and tenderness, translator and innovator, all at 15.
Well, he looks at things a little bit differently. I don't think Mikey overthinks things sometimes, and when we get older, we always tend to overanalyze and overthink things. So.
Boom! Go!
And the game plan for when Mike grows up, it's pretty simple too.
I want to play first, professionally, and then maybe coached.
Certainly, this 15-year-old has a different perspective on football.
21 power!
It's just nice to see he still dreams, like everyone else.
All right.
And Mike Jr.'s.
Well, you never know where someone's family tree may branch out.
That's right. And while browsing through media guides and scouting reports, CBS 21's Jason Bristol discovered in Lancaster County a college infielder with an out-of-this-world connection.
Pitchers, yell back.
In baseball, learning the proper footwork is crucial when playing a new position.
Double plays, double plays.
Mark Stuckey, a senior at Millersville University, has jumped to second base from the outfield. But it's nothing compared to the giant leap once made by his famous relative.
I'm going to be a history teacher, so I should probably learn a little more about him, I guess, before I start telling my students that.
Well, he can still tell his students this, that up there, past the scoreboard and the blue skies, and well into outer space, there once was a man on the moon.
That's one small step for man.
The first one ever.
One giant leap for mankind.
Mark Stuckey is related to Neil Armstrong.
Nobody wants to believe it. It's like, yeah, right, you're related to Neil Armstrong. Sure you are. That's just something you put in your bio to be funny, right?
It's no joke.
I guess it was when I was in high school. I was in Ohio visiting my grandparents when they lived there. And
Mark doesn't know the exact nature of the relationship, but he told me it's on his mother's side. He even met Mr. Armstrong once at a family party.
And I shook his hand and said hi, and it was brief, but
he still managed to get an autograph. Mark's never hid the connection. I found it on an old questionnaire. But most of his team,
no, I had no idea,
is now just finding out.
Only because you brought it up. Only because you brought it up.
So here's the infielder with an out-of-this-world story. Mark's next step could be his own mission, to teach others about this American hero, Neil Armstrong, and this unbelievable connection to history.
No, it's true. I haven't thought much of it because, you know, I only met him the one time, but it's true. It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
It's awesome.
I would
very
say
cool,
very
right?
cool.